Hi everyone, we have here Mr. Ataluk Rao, a successful and highly experienced data engineer from the last 15 years.
We know that when we come from our home country to Canada, we don't get too much calls and traction until we have Canadian experience.
He is currently working in Canada. He has come to our studio to share his insights on data engineering as a career.
The major shareholder of the market for the cloud technologies is Azure. Azure is expanding very fast. A lot of big companies are getting into Azure.
What kind of data engineering are quite prominent in the market? What is the typical life of a data engineer? What exactly he does?
With an experience of 10 years, I believe the migration projects are going to be very helpful.
And what the career opportunities? What should an aspiring data engineer look into?
So these legacy technologies, if we have experience on those, they give us leverage.
Yeah, I'm sure you are going to get more insights into data engineering career. We had traditional data engineering
Yeah.
and we had cloud-based data engineering.
Yes.
So in the current market, which data engineering is more significant now from the market size perspective?
From my experience, because I for 7 to 8 years I was working in traditional ETL tools, SAS mainly, and later few other ab initio tools, and later now these days I'm also working in GCP and Azure. So I still believe the projects which I am getting in Canada and which I am getting more traction is for the migration projects, where we are dealing with the legacy technologies as well as the cloud technologies. If you are a newcomer who is coming to Canada with an experience of 10 years, I believe the migration projects are going to be very helpful. If you are straight away coming from college, then again it's very straightforward that you should go for cloud technologies where already the setups are done there. But we know that when we come from our home country to Canada, we don't get too much calls and traction until we have Canadian experience. So these legacy technologies, if we have experience on those, they give us leverage because there are not so many people who have those
Yeah,
kind of
for
experience.
migration, you need to know the legacy and also you need
Also
to
the
know
new
the
technology.
latest one. Okay, so
So
that's an opportunity.
yeah, so that's a great opportunity, and that's how till now the 4 5 projects which I've got are almost 90% on those only, where I am as working as a SME for the legacy technology, and I'm also helping them with the data validations on the cloud once the data is migrated. So I've done a few most 60% of my projects were data migration projects, and 2 3 projects were also application migration. So this is my
So do
two
you think
cents.
the industry is shifting from traditional data engineering tools to a cloud-based data engineering services?
Absolutely,
It is.
that is
Okay.
absolutely.
Now let's come to the cloud-based
Yeah.
data engineering services. So we have three major clouds.
Yeah.
Okay, like AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud.
Yeah.
So as per your observation, like which data engineering, which
Mhm.
cloud-based data engineering is in a more demand, like from order of high demand to low demand?
So again, it depends on the perspective. How do you want to go into the market? If you want to get into a lot of competition, and because I believe the major shareholder of the market for the cloud technologies is Azure. Azure is expanding very fast. A lot of big companies are getting into Azure. But as soon as I'm saying that, there are a lot of Azure certified persons also in the market. So you'll be very competing with a lot of people when you're going for an interview. And on the same side, if you want to don't want any competition and we want to be in a very elite certified league where people are going to reach out to you because you are the only one in the few in the market, I believe then you can go for GCP. AWS comes in between because AWS was previously the largest shareholder. Now it's decreasing. Azure is capturing its shareholding. Air, with AWS, I explored it and I feel it's not that much user friendly to learn the data engineering skills. Even though everything is similar, but due to Microsoft, I'm not sure. Azure has been very user friendly and easy to learn and easy to execute. So it's a good that you'll easily be able to cope up the technology. You'll be very expert in it, but you'll be competing with very lot of people in the market. But if you want to be a niche, then I would say go for GCP, Google
So
Cloud.
then in such case, if there is a fresh graduate,
Mhm.
okay, so what would be your advice? Your advice would be to have him take Azure data engineering or Google data engineering.
again, sir, I will say, what is his perspective? If he is sure that he can take on challenges with multiple other, and he just want to be an expert, because wherever if you are expert, you will be able to compete with 100 people. So ultimately, it boils down where are you getting your expertise. Other than that, if you're going into GCP, Google Cloud, and if you're not able to understand it due to the not so user friendly or the other tools kind of things, then I believe that you should go ahead with Azure itself, because ultimately you have to be an expert. That's the main thing. If you are able to learn GCP, because all the technologies are same, or even only the names of applications are changed. If you are able to cope up and learn GCP, that will be great. You'll be very niche in the market.
So, so you mentioned several times about Google data engineering,
Yeah.
right? So, what are typical data engineering services in Google that a person should learn if he wants to aspire to become a Google data engineer?
I have done the project in Google Data Engineering from 16 to 19, where the project was again migration from Teradata to BigQuery. So there we have created a lot of data pipelines using Airflow. So I was not dealing with the whole applications of a whole platform. The only two technologies in GCP I was dealing with was Dataflow and BigQuery.
You mean Airflow and BigQuery?
Airflow and BigQuery, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is how all the projects goes in IT, in big companies as well. So when you are a seasoned IT professional, you have to think about from the project perspective rather than getting expertise in each and every tool of cloud, because nobody whenever you go in an interview, nobody is going to ask you about each and every application. Do you know about this? Do you know about this? They are going to ask you about your previous experience, and if you are able to give technical answers from dot to point to point, what have you done, what challenges you have faced in those particular migration projects, and genuine they think that these are the general problems and you have executed and handled them perfectly, then you are going to crack the interview. And once you have the project in your hand, you are definitely going to learn new things, because every project have their own challenges, which will be helpful for the next challenges, next opportunity in an interview.
Okay. So, again, this is one of the frequently asked questions. Like,
Yeah.
if one has to become a Google data engineer, what certifications he has to do? Are certifications really necessary?
I would say in Canadian market, definitely certifications catch eyes.
Okay.
Even if you are 10-year experience, if you have done certifications, because the first shortlisting phase is done by HRs and non-technical persons, and even there are now AI agents which do, and they definitely shortlist whoever is certified. And after that, once you are shortlisted, in the technical round, it does not matter, because nobody is going to ask you questions from the certification examination. Always they are going to ask you the questions from your previous experience, or if you're fresher, they are going to ask what project you have done and if you could explain it to me. So that's how I see my main focus whenever I'm going for an interview or getting the next contract. I focus on my previous projects and I try to explain them and present it like a product or service which I have done. So that's how I try to crack
So,
the opportunity.
what certifications for Google data
Google certified data engineering is the best.
Okay.
If you want to grow if you have been in data engineering for long period, and if you want to grow in architecture part, then Google certified data architect is also great.
Okay.
Google data analytics is good only for the people who were using analytical tools like SAS and are specifically into analytics and don't want to get in, and they want to stay into the business, don't want to get into too much technology, then it's a very good thing that you can get into. Google data analytics is a very good
Now
certification.
you brought me a very good point. Like, people are most of the people are confused between a data analyst and a data engineer,
Yeah.
and many a time they think both are same.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what are the typical responsibilities of a data analyst, and what are the typical responsibilities of a data engineer? Like, few points if you can add.
So the main mindset, the difference between these two professions is data analyst is working for business. He needs to be very well versed with what is the business problem, what is the data for, and he should know what is data means to him, data points means to him. However, even though if he is running SQL queries, his or her ultimate goal is to get a business insights out of it. and it should be helpful to the business, the VPs, directors, to talk about, okay, this is what data is giving us. Data engineering is the back end, where we need to have 10 to 20% of business insights. What is data about? What is the characters and of those, whether it's the characteristic variables or numeric variables. But apart from that, we are not involved in business so much. Our main objective is to facilitate data in an easy manner so that analytics can be done on it. So, like in a traditional way, there used to be data warehousing where ETL persons used to do all the cleansing and putting data into a particular warehouse, and then data from data warehouse they used to extract some few much data and create reports. So that's the main objective of data engineer. We are dealing with technologies, the latest technologies, where uh, we are dealing with huge amount of data, and our ultimate goal is to facilitate business to with the data which which is easily accessible from anywhere, and they can do analytics easily on it.
So data engineer takes the raw data, transforms it, and creates meaningful
Yes.
data sets, and it is a data analyst who consumes this data
Yes.
and make it useful for business.
Yeah.
So which means that do you think data analyst should be having the business knowledge as well, or it's not mandatory?
It is if you want to grow in that field, you need to have business knowledge,
Mm.
because whenever you're talking to your manager, ultimately in a day-to-day job you are doing creating a report which is going to be further discussed in a management meeting. So you have to know the business, what are the key important terms and key points which will create an impact in that particular meeting, the next meeting, management meeting. So definitely, if you want to grow in data analyst, if you don't know the data and you're just creating the report on a daily basis because it's a usual day, then you'll never grow in your job.
Now, a data engineer. This is also one of the frequently asked questions. Sir, I'm preparing for data engineering,
Yeah.
but then I don't know what a typical data engineer does when he joins a job.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what many people are asking me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so can you tell me like a list of things? What a typical data, how is the day-to-day life of a data engineer
So
in the company?
yeah, so I worked for 2 3 big corporations over here in Canada, and two of them I worked, as I said, I worked for a migration projects. So data engineer have 2 3 major roles. In each company, there are different LOBs, line of businesses, where they deal with different kind of datas. Now, once we are dealing with cloud technologies, so we are trying to exclude the data warehouse. We are putting everything in data lakes,
Hmm.
which is cost effective and also very efficient for each teams. So what data engineers do is either to get extract data from whatever the sources. For example, if I'm working for a telecommunication company, they may be getting data feedback data from their subsidiary campaigning companies, vendor companies, or what if they have sent an emails for campaign, so they are getting those kind of data. So our job is to streamline those data, get into that data lake. This is the first job where we are trying to get the data into our business, into our company. Once that data is there, if any particular line of business needs an insight from it, they are going to create an SR, um, service request, that okay, we need this kind of data from data lake. So analytics will reach out to us. Now our job is to create a pipeline in a particular transformed manner, whatever they have requested, and get that data in their uh, data marts.
So is it one time or continuous?
This happens multiple times, because for each project, a lot of banks, telecommunication companies, for each request, a subset of data, they generate an SR.
Okay.
And there may be changes in their reporting. Additional few columns are added, few columns are removed, renaming of columns, and sometimes logics and calculations also when we are dealing with billing parts. So we implement calculations as well to generate the final report. So they try to, whatever the standardized part and calculation is required, they try to impose it to give it to data engineering team, and they do it. They put include it in their transformations logics itself, and then once that standardized data is available in the output reports, they can do their analytics for their business meetings. When I'm saying analytics, they are dealing with the summarized data for their business meeting management meetings and future decisions. And however, we don't do the summarized data. They do it at our end. Our our job is to provide standardized data, whatever the requirement is. The whole data is provided. We provide a data pipeline to them, and how much data they need from it for their analytics, they can extract it from themselves.
Okay.
When they just send a SQL query, our data pipeline will work and extract that particular amount of data and give it to them for their analytics.
So now, whenever we say data analyst or data engineer or data scientist,
Mhm.
people talk about Python.
Yeah.
That is the de facto
Yes.
programming language that everybody uses.
Yes.
Now, as a data engineer, where exactly you use Python? SQL, you had just explained that,
Yeah.
you know, uh, when businesses have to
Mhm.
consume the data from
Mhm.
the data mark, they write a query, blah, blah, blah. Now, as a Python, like where exactly a data engineer uses Python and how much of Python they should know?
Yeah, as you just said that SQL is the backbone of data engineering, but Python is also, I can say without Python you cannot survive in data engineering,
Mhm.
because when we are creating any transformations, we are writing the code in Python or PySpark, whatever the new technology languages you are learning. We are doing the coding in that language itself. So yeah, it's very important.
So
Without
there
it,
are no, wizard based or click based transformation tools. You have to write the code.
yeah, in Azure right now there are a lot of drag and drop tools where we can. Cloud is making our life very much easier.
Mhm.
But still, I would say you have to know the language, because there may be a service request where you have to, as I said, you have to implement a calculation. Which calculation you have to, if you want to implement, you have to know how to edit the particular dragged code,
Yeah.
where you have to insert your code. So everything can be done using Google and with the help of AI, but still it would take you very far away if you know the code, because most of the time there are a lot of projects where you're dealing with the existing Python codes, and if you are able to understand it, give the estimates fast for a particular story, you get the recognition in the team. Okay, this is good, everybody will come to you, so this is how your name gets far away. And so definitely Python and SQL are the fundamentals which you need to know
So they
to
are
get.
like mandatory for people to learn. So
Yes.
Python and SQL plus the cloud based, whatever cloud he
Yes.
chooses, cloud based data engineering.
Yeah.
Now, I also heard about some of the data engineering tools like Databricks
Mhm.
or Snowflake, which are not the part of the cloud, but these days exist
Mhm.
independently. Like, any thoughts on this? Like, are they really important, or just the cloud-based services are enough to learn?
uh, I believe both of them have their own plus points, pros.
Okay.
Snowflake is actually trying to, uh, what I can say, improvise on the traditional databases kind of, because it's
Okay.
giving very good flexibility from that perspective. Whereas Databricks is for the data engineering kind of thing, where we can play with any extract data from any cloud services, along with the traditional databases. We can play with them in that particular platform, Databricks, and then wherever you want to keep Azure data, GCP, or whichever cloud you are having, you can put your data there. So I believe for if you are in data engineering, it's better to go for Databricks, because there you can know what playground with that particular new technology, Databricks, what you can do extracting data from all the technologies, other cloud platforms. However, if you are only dealing with the data warehousing part, and we are migrating the data from traditional to cloud, there are much more efficient technologies proposed by Snowflake. So in that sense, you can look ahead for getting certifications on Snowflake. That's what my understanding is till now.
Okay. So in your conversation, you mentioned that you have done some contracts.
Yeah.
Like in Canada, we have contract jobs and
Mhm.
full-time jobs,
Yes.
right? So which ones are more for data engineers? Are full-time jobs more, or contract jobs more for data engineers?
Uh,
And
as per
you might have applied for so many things, so
Yeah.
you might know the industry or the market. So
Mhm.
which ones have you seen more? People are asking for full-timers or for contractors?
I have seen both the opportunities equally. However, in the field which I am, more there are more contracts, and
Okay.
because I am looking for more migration engineering kind of
So
projects.
obviously, migration
Yeah.
experts always get contract
Contracts.
jobs
Yeah.
because it's a one-time thing.
Yes.
They want an expert to come do it.
Yes.
That's how I got my first DevOps project, which I told you.
Yeah.
Like it was a contract where we have to move the I think code
Mm-hmm.
from on-prem
Mm-hmm.
to cloud,
Yeah.
running the same pipeline.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so yeah, so but you feel that both are equal, like full-time and contract.
Yeah. But I would also say that if you are a newcomer to this country or you are a fresher, and if you're trying to get the job in Canadian market, even if you go for data engineering, which is hot right now among all the other IT services jobs, you'll not get a full-time job directly.
Okay.
It will most probably most of the big four banks, telecommunication companies. I've noticed that they first try to hire from through a contract, and if they see there is a long-term job, data engineering job for you, they would then offer you. Until unless you have a Canadian experience of more than 5 years, I don't think you'll get an full-time interview for a full-time
Data
job, data engineering job.